dear. This is Vishram Singh, assistant professor English working at government Easy College, Karoli. Through online mode, we are studying English literature. The lecture of the day is meant for the students of BA Part First, the University of Kota, Rajasthan. We will keep the poem Alexander's Feast continue today. The poem is secondly entitled as The Power of Music. Timotheus is the musician who is singing of the power of music. With the power of music, how he can change the moods of Alexander the Great, who was organizing the party to celebrate his victory over Darius, the king of Persia, at Persepolis. The poem is an ode which was written in the year of 1697 by John Dryden. Now we continue the poem. Behold how they toss their torches on high, how they point to the Persian abodes and glittering temples of their hostile gods. Timotheus is giving the portraiture of the soldiers who had been died during the battle against Darius, the king of Persia. Now they have been awakened from their uh, respective bodies because they are lying unburied, and that's why this is not the proper ceremony of the dead body of the brave soldiers. So they are coming out of their bodies and toss the torches in their hands in the high in the air. Behold, the poet addresses to Alexander the Great, that you should see. Behold means see how they toss. They means the dead soldiers of Greece. They toss their torches on high. How they point to the Persian abodes, and they are pointing out to the Persian abodes, Persian homes, or we can say the homes of the people of Persia. How they point to the Persian abodes and glittering temples of their hostile gods, and they are indicating towards the glittering. Glittering means brightening or enlightening temples of their hostile gods. Hostile means enemy gods, the gods which were worshipped by their enemies. So they are inspiring uh, Alexander the Great to take revenge upon them, to destroy the temples and abodes of Persia, because they were their enemies, they were their foes. The princes upload with a furious joy, and the king seized a flambeau with zeal to destroy. Thrice led the way to light him to his prey. Now Alexander the Great is inspired, and his mood of love and wine has been changed completely, and he has gone into the mood of enmity, mood of taking revenge upon his enemies. Princes applaud. Princes means the soldiers who applaud. Applaud means praise. The furious. Furious means angry face of Alexander the Great, because they think that now the king is going to take revenge upon Persian abodes and Persian temples of their hostile gods. And the king seized a flambeau, and now Alexander the Great seized means caught a flambeau. Flambeau means a torch to destroy the Persian abodes. With zeal to destroy. Zeal means enthusiasm. Now he has become enthusiastic, and he is ready to destroy the Persian abodes and the temples of Persian gods. Thais laid the way, and Thais was like Helen of Troy, who laid the way for Alexander the Great. Thais was a beautiful lady of uh, the Greek. Thais laid the way to light him to his prey, and brought she brought Alexander the Great uh, to his prey. Prey means to his enemies, whom he has to kill. However, they have been killed already during the war, but the anger of the king shows that the king is very furious now, and he wants to take revenge again. And the king seized a flambeau with zeal to destroy. Thais led the way to light him to his prey, and like another Helen fired another Troy. There is the reference of Helen of Troy, who had fled away with the Paris. The husband of Helen was the Prince of Troy, who was Melanos, and she was the very region of the destruction of Rome, the destruction of the Battle of Troy. Thais led the way to light him to his prey, and like another Helen fired another Troy. The poet gives the reference of Helen. She was beautiful like Thais. Thais is also beautiful, and she is the controlling power of the emotions of Alexander the Great. Thus, long ago, ere, thus long ago, heaving billows learned to blow. And now the poet is giving the history of music, how music began. Thus long ago, or means before heaving the bellows. Bellows is the kind of organ, musical organ, with the which is blown with the breath of the person, breath of the singer. Or heaving bellows learn to blow, while organs yet were mute. While organs, musical organs were silent, and mute means silent. They were not invented. This was the first time the organ was invented by the musician Saint Cecilia. She was the inventress of the music, vocal frame. To light into his prey, and like another Helen fired another throat. Her heaving bellows learned to blow, while organs yet were mute. Timotheus to his breathing flute and sounding lyre. Now Timotheus, who was the great Greek musician of the time, who started to play upon the flute with his breath, with his breath. Timotheus to his breathing flute and sounding lyre. He is playing upon the musical instrument lyre. Could swell the soul to raise. He was able to swell. Swell means inspire here. The soul of Alexander the Great to be furious. Raise means furious, or kindle soft desire. There was only one organ uh, with which two emotions could be produced in the heart of the listener, whether raise means anger, or soft desire. Soft desire means a feeling of love. Kindle means to lighten the desire, to lighten the desire of love. At last, divine Cecilia came. At last means at the end, or in the end, we can say, divine Cecilia came. Cecilia was a lady saint who came. She has been described as godly, divine, means she was uh, very first time inventress of the organ. So she developed the form of music. At last, divine Cecilia came, inventress of the vocal frame. She was the inventress of vocal frame, the sweet enthusiast from a sacred store, enlarged the former narrow bounds and added length to solemn sounds. The sweet enthusiast here means Saint Cecilia. She had a sacred store of music. She used to sing sacred music, sacred songs in praise of God. Enlarged, she enlarged the former narrow bounds, narrow boundaries, narrow limits of music, because she was praiseworthy in this matter, that she developed the forms of music. Otherwise, music was able to produce two feelings: raise means anger or soft desire. But with the coming of Saint Cecilia, she invented uh, the vocal frame, the organ, and with this organ, she produced many kinds of sound, and she was able to produce and alter the emotions of the listener with her music, and added length to solemn sounds. She added means she developed this solemn music to different kind of emotions, and added length to solemn sounds. Before the incarnation of Saint Cecilia, there was the music which was bound, which was limited. It could produce anger and soft desire, only two things it could produce in the hearts and the minds of listeners. But with the coming of Cecilia, Music became unlimited. Music developed and added length to solemn sounds with nature's mother wit and arts unknown before. She did it with nature's mother wit. Nature's mother means here intelligence, wit, and arts unknown before, and with the arts which were not known earlier. Let all Timotheus yield the prize, or both divide the crown. Now the poet is in confusion because he wants to give away the prize, but there are two worthy people or worthy winners of the prize, so it must be divided. It must not be given to one man or one lady. It must be divided into two singers, two musicians. Let all Timotheus yield the prize. Now he thinks over the matter of giving away the prize of music. He says that he thinks all Timotheus was the greatest musician of the day, but he thinks also that Saint Cecilia was also worthy musician of the day of the time, or both divide the crown. So he considers finally that the crown of music must be divided between these two, old Timotheus and Saint Cecilia. And for this purpose he gives the reason. He raised a mortal to the skies. He for Timotheus, old Timotheus sang so well that Jove or Jupiter, the god of war and thunder, no, he raised a mortal to the skies. He means Timotheus raised the mortal. The mortal here means Alexander the Great, who was the king of Greece that time. He was made godly due to the music of Timotheus. So he raised a mortal man to the skies, to the heavens. Means he equalized Alexander the Great uh, to the gods of heaven. While the second, she drew an angel down. She means Saint Cecilia was drew, able to draw, able to draw the angel from heavens, because she sang so sweetly that Job or Jupiter came down from the heaven to the earth. So these were the specialists of their respective fields. So the crown of music must be divided between these two. That is the final decision of the poet. So the poet gives an account of the power of music. He says that the music is very powerful, with which we can change the emotions of the listener. So that we have seen in the poem, Alexander the Great has been changed into different moods with the help of the music sung by Timotheus. So that's all for today. Thank you and have a nice day.